Hi everyone, this is the tutorial for Speyside by Bon Iver. My name is Billy from Piano and Pies. Let's get stuck straight in. So to play the song the easiest, we're going to have a capo on fret 7, and we're in standard tuning, and we're going to follow the tablature on the screen. And what we have at the beginning is 3 up from the capo, so all the notes are in reference to the capo for this introduction. We're going to start with 3 on the E string, followed by an open G string, and we go back and forth twice. So you get octave notes there. We then have an open A, and then an open G. And then we have 3 on the A and an open G. So that first part. Then what we do, we're going to hammer on the D string 0 to 2. And we're going to have a 1 on the B string. And I'd highly recommend using those 2 fingers, because then you can add this finger and play what is a C major chord after that. So up to now we have this. We then go to what you call an F sus2 shape, which is going to be 3, an open G string, 1, 1 on the B and E. This finger is then going to hammer on that note there. Then we wait. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can see I've just took that middle finger off for that bar there. So just to play through those sections, we have 2, 3. We then have a bar of F, F. Now on the sheet I've wrote the chord, chord, and then the melody of, which is all on the G string. On the actual track you can kind of hear the chord in between that melody. And what I've done is try to write out the tab in a way where you see the main parts, and it's up to you to try and kind of use your ear to say, oh yeah, there's a bit of a chord in between that as well. This is all the key information on the sheet, and that is if you choose to get it over on Patreon. But yeah, this is the key information, and use your ear to try and make sure that you get the extra bits of chord as well. It's pretty easy to follow on along the track. After that, we get an A minor chord, which is that 0, 2, 2 on the D and G, 1 on the B, and an open E string. And you go 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're striking the higher part of that chord in that last bar. So he's not playing the full A minor, apart from the first run through. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we get to a G sus4 shape. But again, we're breaking up the chord. We're not just striking the full chord. We have 3 on the E string, 2 on the A, and that's with these 2 fingers. We have an open D, an open G, 1 on the B, and avoid playing the high E string. And we play the lower notes, and then strike the higher note. Followed by 1 on the B, an open G, and 1 on the B. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then in the next bar, we kind of keep that shape. And then we have zeros on the G, D, and then back to the B string. And then the next bit, it's just a G major chord, but without the high E string. And then finally, on this first part of the introduction, we have an A minor where we hammer on this finger. So up to now, there are lots and lots of different sections, and this is quite literally the first 10 seconds of the track. So if you do want the tab for the opening section, as well as what the chords will be for the next bit, then head on over to Patreon. There is a link in the description, and for the price of a coffee, you get access to the tab of not only the main parts of this song, but also 350 plus songs of the latest releases. So yeah, feel free to check that out. So the next part of the introduction, we have an F major chord, which is going to be basically a bar chord, 1, 3, 3, 2, and we're going to strike those 4 notes, so don't kind of play the full bar chord. It'll be 1, 2, 3, then we play the 2 on the G, the 3 on the D, and then the 1 on the B string. So I am kind of eventually playing a lot of the notes of that chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then look, we've gone back to that A minor shape that we've seen a couple of times already. So just play those 2 bars again. 2, 3. Then we're going to go to that G sus4 chord yet again, and we'll play 1, 2, 3, and then get your little finger on the B string. You see there's a number 3 at the end of that bar, so we want to try and get to that nice and quickly. So we have, and then we have, so I'm just kind of picking between that, the open G string, the 3, and then back to 3 on the B string. And then we kind of do the same thing, but strike the chord and play those notes afterwards. Okay, so at this point we get a little bit of repetition. I'd love to say it's all repetition, but unfortunately not. But yeah, we then have, so up to now that's the same. Then in the next bar, which on my sheet is bar 16, so we've got a hammer on between the D of 0 and 2, back to D, 3 on the A, and then an open D string. Then, this is where things get a bit more interesting. So, there are a few ways of trying to voice this with your fingers, but the best way is getting 1 with your thumb. It's very hard to get that. Then 3 on the D, an open G, and 1 on the B. And then you're kind of basically just picking those notes after playing the chord. And then we have, you could, if you want, try and get that. That might make it a bit easier, but maybe your thumb might help out, especially with the bar 17 chords. And at that point, you've got yourself the introduction sorted. Now, you're going to see all of those parts come back in one form or another throughout the song. There's a lot of repetition in this. Sometimes you have to just slightly change how some of the chord shapes are played. Maybe you strum them or pick the notes, but use your ear to try and figure that out. But that is the main part of the song. Now, there is a brief pause before Justin Vernon comes in with the vocals, and what you can now see on the screen is what chord shapes to play, and I want you to use your ear to try and figure out how to then play those. It's basically just strumming or just holding the chords or maybe slightly picking them, but these are the shapes that you need. So when he starts singing, we have an F major chord. We then go to an A minor, and then the G sus4 shape. It then goes to a normal G major, A minor to F, A minor to G sus4. I'm just going to demonstrate what that'll sound like with the strumming as well. So you can see I was just following those chords in the pattern that I have on the page. Now those are the two main parts to this song that eventually just start cycling around where you chop and change between them. So if you are interested in getting the tab that you've seen on the screen, do head on over to Patreon. Like I said earlier, the link is in the description. I also want to say thanks to the people on the screen. Those are my active patrons. So the moment that this video goes live, they'll get access to those sheets straight away. So thanks to them for their support. Thanks to you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.